Bob, I got to interrupt you there. Let's go to Troy Nehls, the congressional candidate, outgoing sheriff of Fort Bend County. He's speaking now.
And I hope I haven't let you down as serving as your sheriff. Many people said, well, Sheriff, you've done a great job. You know, you're not running for a third term. Who's going to replace you? My twin brother, Trevor. I talked to him a few minutes ago and I said, Trevor, you're at 83%. Give any credit to the campaign manager, right? No, but I want to say this to all of the people for the last 90 days that have worked tirelessly to support our campaign. Those of you that are out here tonight wearing our t-shirts, those of you that have been block walking, those that have held coffees. We had numerous coffees throughout the entire district. Del Webb, Pecan Grove, the volunteers that were at the polling places during early vote for 100 hours, standing on their feet saying, please support Troy Nehls for Congress. He would be honored to represent you in Washington. You did this for me. I didn't do it on my own. You did this for me, and I want to thank you so very much for that. You did this for me. We spent many nights in this beautiful, it's called Freedom Hall. And Freedom Hall is really going to get exciting come November. Freedom Hall is going to get exciting come in November. The number of people that came in here were addressing envelopes and just reaching out and showing support and inspiring me and saying, Troy, you're doing a great job. You're running a very clean campaign. Keep it up. Keep it up. And we've done that. And the polls closed tonight. And I want to thank the voters of Fort Bend County, Brazoria, and Harris County. We are at 43% of the total vote. And so we've got a couple hours yet. You know, the polls are going to come through for the votes today, and I just hope we can even increase that more. But I just want to tell you, the first leg of the race is over, right? And now there's going to be a runoff. A runoff with who? Quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me.
All right, that's Troy Nehls, the current sheriff of Fort Bend County, trying to become the next congressional representative from District 22, which is Fort Bend, Brazoria, and some of Harris County as well. And right now, looking good. I want to bring you in, Vlad Davidya, from a Republican strategist. These numbers here, I know it's early. Does he look like he's going to make the runoff?
Oh, it looks almost certain that Troy Nehls is going to be one of the candidates in the race. That strength that he's been able to show very early on with these votes really indicates that his groundwork, that his campaign, his recognition with the population there is very deeply rooted, and he was able to capitalize on that. The question is, how much does he hold the other candidates down, and where are those votes coming from?
Can we bring the graphic back up here? I don't know if we can on the spot, but with all the leading Republicans there to just see who we're talking about. Okay, here we are. So which of the other three here? Who's the second person who makes the runoff? I'm putting you on the spot.
It's going to be very tight because, I mean, you look at those numbers, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there. And so it really depends on who can capitalize on some of those late decision makers, the people who went to election day and maybe made up their mind today. That's gonna actually.
And then we don't have a lot of the voted. I mean, and I think as Vlad said, the distribution across 3 counties. A guy like Greg Hill is from Brazoria, so is that 14% what he's getting out of Brazoria? Is there anything coming there in the 19, almost 20,000 votes that Troy Nehls has got? I think it's early, but I think when you have that kind of lead at the early vote, you know one person's in that runoff, and that's going to be the former sheriff. The early question is, I would have put the money on Pierce Bush, but again, you've got 2 people who don't have strong roots in the community, and Vlad said something before. You're a county sheriff. I mean, you know people, and you've been around a lot. You could say the same thing about Greg Hill, who's at least in Brazoria. But the question becomes, where is Kathleen Wall's and where is Pierce Bush's base? I don't know how many voters showed up on Election Day. This is a Republican primary. There was nothing really to attract them at the top. These were all local races. I don't think people had a lot of uncertainty about who they're going to vote for, like what we see in Harris County with the Democratic presidential primary. So I just think this is a case of we got to wait and see if 11,000 votes out of what I assume will be close to 180, maybe 200,000 votes cast.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a lot of TV commercials for the middle 2 people right there.
Oh, yeah.
For Kathleen Wall and Pierce Bush, both very well funded. of those three left, Vlad, who ran the best campaign in your opinion?
I would have to say of the three, I would say Pierce Bush was the one who was most active on the ground, the one who was connecting with the groups across town, the ones who was engaging with the people who have the ability to get people out to the polls. That said, Kathleen Wall has very deep connections with the Republican activists, with people that she's helped get into office, because she's a donor who's helped a lot of candidates get across that threshold. So in terms of actually engaging on the ground, Pierce has a little bit of an edge, but Kathleen has a longer history there.
You know, a lot of people have been talking about Pierce Bush, and they know that the name obviously is there, the name recognition and the family history, that dynasty, but saying that he's a little young and that he's starting his political career on the young side. How will this fare for him in the end? I mean, obviously Nehls is out in front now. We won't know the final results for a while, but could a loss hurt him?
Well, in this particular kind of case, in politics, failing to win kind of almost is a seal of approval on your resume, because it shows that you're able to compete. It shows you were able to do something, depending on how well he finishes. His family has a long history of public service. His grandfather was president. His uncle was president. His cousin is statewide elected office in Texas. So he has the ability to really leverage that name recognition, to leverage those connections, and build up on that, depending on what happens tonight. That said, that window is open for him now, and it depends on how he capitalizes on it and where it goes from there. So.
Keep in mind, Kathleen Wall ran 2 years ago, of course, in the race that eventually Congressman Crenshaw won. And if I remember, it was State Representative Roberts who was in that runoff. Wall was spending, I think, maybe 2 to 1 on both Crenshaw and Roberts, and still she couldn't make it into the runoff. So it may be that being a supporter of candidates doesn't necessarily give you an entree into being a candidate, and I think losing twice makes it, I mean, and particularly when you move from one district to another district, one community to another. It's not like Nehls has moved around a lot. Maybe there are 3 counties. Pierce Bush is the same problem. I mean, finding a district to run in and then having to move there, it's not uncommon, and people do it on both sides of the party. But
and there's no requirement, by the way, that you live in your district even.
But
I know what you mean, though.
I think when you're running a campaign, you'd rather have a candidate like that, that knows people. Not that he knows people who can introduce you to people. When I think, I never thought Detroit Nehls would do as well. I thought he was a little bit too controversial. I thought the party was looking for someone a little bit more centrist. And when I saw Kathleen Wall, I said, maybe I'm wrong about that. Then when Pierce Bush got in, I was more convinced that the party would like to see somebody who's a little bit more moderate. And I don't think Pierce Bush has backed off in his support of President Trump. And I think clearly, as Vladna said, this is still, it's a Republican primary. It's not the general electorate in the district. It's a Republican primary. And it's pretty clear, like some Democratic partisans in places like Travis County, these are people who've taken a more extreme position on the right. And I think my personal view is there may not be enough room for a Pierce Bush here, even if he goes out and says the right things about the wall, about immigration, about health care. He's not talking to what I will call a moderate Republican, and for that matter, a crossover Democrat. And I think what you're going to probably see here is a fight between probably Roy Nehls and, again, I'm going to guess, my guess is that Brazoria County will come through for someone like Greg Hill. That's my money. I don't see those two as, they're basically people who are probably taking votes away from each other.
Interesting.